Today I'm going to be mainly just talking about random stuff while I eat these chocolate chips. I also have some of this jasmine green tea. Jasmine green tea. Some fun syllables in there. I have some jasmine green tea that I will be drinking as well. So this green tea actually is kind of special. It's not just jasmine, but it's also got chaga in it, like the mushroom. So I was at an event a few weeks ago, and I had the opportunity to buy this from a vendor who has this company up in San Francisco, and it's chaga tea. This is not a sponsored placement. I just happen to like this tea and find it kind of interesting. Honestly, you can't really taste the chaga. Not that I know what chaga tastes like. At this point, I don't. But I know what mushrooms can taste like, and it doesn't taste like mushroom at all. Honestly, it just tastes like a really nice green tea. Kind of, I don't know, mild with that classic jasmine taste. I'm not exactly sure how to describe it. But it's good. I like it. I like tea in general, actually. I grew up drinking a lot of tea. My dad was really into it when I was growing up. So we used to have a lot of different teas in the house from actually mainly from China and Japan, as well as some tea from India and some tea from England. This is not including herbal teas and teas made from things other than the tea plant. So anyways, I really like tea. You know, the other day actually, I was just kind of, I don't know, hanging out, walking around town, and I ended up stopping at a tea place in the middle of the day. I'd never been there before, but it looked pretty cool. So I went, and it was good. I ended up having an oolong that I don't think I had had before. So that was cool. I can't remember the name of it, though. I suppose I could look it up. But it was pretty good. Yeah. You know, to be honest, these chocolate chips are pretty good, too. They're not like anything fancy, but they get the job done. It's kind of a funny sound, the sound of chocolate chips. It's not quite crunchy, and it's not quite chewy. I suppose it's somewhere in the middle. Especially right now, these ones seem to be already kind of melting in my hand. It's not even particularly warm in here. But I don't know. I guess my hand is probably warm from the tea. The thing about chocolate chips, with me at least, is that it's kind of hard to stop. This is why I put some in the bowl here, because I was afraid that if I brought the full bag in here, I would just end up eating the whole bag, which wouldn't be the worst thing, but probably wouldn't be the best thing for me either. I had considered making something. I had considered making something, honestly, like some brownies or something like that. But I thought the sort of quasi crunch of the chocolate chips would be kind of fun and interesting. I suppose you can let me know if you like the sound or not. Personally, I kind of go back and forth on what kind of food sounds or mouth sounds I personally like to listen to. I think a lot of it just has to do with my mood and also who's doing it. I think that there's definitely something to be said for trying to make a good sound for the microphone, but at the same time, I don't usually like it when somebody kind of hams it up a little too much to try and get that sound out, the mouth sounds. That's just my personal preference. That's not judgment or anything like that. But I guess that preference, it's kind of informing the way I'm eating these chocolate chips right now. Trying to get a good mouth sound, but at the same time, I'm not eating it that differently than I would just normally eat these, I think. And yes, there is a sort of normally, in this case for me, I do, well, yeah, it's fair to say I'd say I eat chocolate chips by themselves with a fair degree of regularity, a couple times a month at least. To be fair, it's usually just when I am out of anything else or if I don't feel like baking something. But I just, need that chocolate fix. But I'm doing this thing where I try and just pour some in the bowl instead of eating right out of the bag. Because if I eat them right out of the bag, as I mentioned before, sometimes I just end up eating all of them in one sitting, which is not great. I'm really trying to move away from that. Not that there's anything wrong with that. Absolutely no judgment. Just for me, sometimes if I eat too much of something that has a lot of like refined sugar, it'll make my teeth hurt. And of course it makes my stomach ache as well. But the teeth hurting thing kind of alarms me. So I'm honestly not sure what that's about. I don't know. Maybe if you have an idea, you can tell me in the comments or something. Actually, now that I think about it, I'd really like to know. Maybe I'll Google it after this. Why refined sugar makes your teeth hurt. I suppose it's possible it's not just teeth. Maybe it makes your gums hurt. Or it inflames your gums or something like that. Not sure. Anyways, though, I try and avoid that if I can. I have to say, this tea is really good. But I think if I'm going to say how good the tea is, I also have to be honest that it's also a little expensive. There's like not that many servings in the package for how much it ended up costing. I don't remember how many servings or how much it ended up costing, but I remember when I bought it being like, this is definitely something I want to try, but I would expect that the bag would be a little larger or would just have more tea in it. But maybe that has to do with the price of chaga. Again, I'm really not sure. I'm not trying to put this person on blast. I think they made a great product. I just don't really know why it's so expensive. But honestly, given that I don't drink it that often, I probably have this, or so far I've probably had this maybe twice a week since getting it, this particular tea. Honestly, I'd probably still buy it again. It's an independent maker, I guess you would say, of the tea. Although that's actually also interesting. I don't know if he just combines the already ground up chaga with the tea leaves that he gets somewhere else, or what the story is. I suppose there are many people involved in the process. I'd actually like to know more. As I'm this is the first time I've actually kind of thought through this since buying this tea. I'd actually like to get some more of this tea, but that would involve getting up. And I don't know. I don't really feel like doing that right now. And what about you? How do you like your tea, or do you like tea? And if you do, how do you like your tea? And if you don't, do you like some other kind of warm beverage? I guess coffee would be the most common alternative, but I suppose hot chocolate or something like that could also be an option. Among other things with regards to tea, I'm actually somewhat interested in the different preparation methods. For this tea, I just did it in a French press, which seems to work, especially for like mixed teas, things that are like blends or herbal, or in this case, mushrooms or mushroom powder, I guess, and green tea. In that case, I don't think there's really a traditional method for preparation. But I know with other styles of tea, there are. So I'm curious if you like any of those, or if you engage with any of those processes with any degree of regularity. What's funny about the chocolate chips, I'm going to share a secret with you. Actually, it's not a secret. I think you've been paying attention. Is that generally with chocolate chips, I tend to eat them in pairs. And I honestly think that the only real reason for that is just so I can have more than one, but not so many as they melt in my hand. I try and kind of avoid holding them in the palm of my hand. So I'll just take one and eat it while I hold the other one. So I'm not even eating them as pairs. And then I'll eat the other one. I also do kind of like to do, like, alternate the sides of my mouth that I eat them on. That might be crazy, but I feel like, back to the issue of the sugar, I feel like that way I'm spreading the potential for cavities evenly across my teeth, which hopefully lowers the risk of getting cavities. Maybe it just increases the risk of getting cavities on both sides. I'm not sure. A lot of questions I don't have answers to. A lot of things I honestly haven't really thought of much before now. If you're a dentist or orthodontist or assistant or hygienist, or you just know a lot about teeth, maybe you could tell me. Actually, I'd really appreciate it if you could tell me if I'm like splitting the difference here on chances of getting cavities, or what the story is. You know, with regards to cavities, I honestly feel like there are a lot more factors at play than just how much sugar you eat or whatever. I think that genetics must play a large role. Again, I know that this is probably very well documented. I just don't read a lot of literature on orthodontia or dentistry. But I've known people who just eat ridiculous amounts of sugar and seem to never have problems with regards to, like, cavities and things like that. And then I know there are other people who, I don't know, it seems like if they just kind of think about their teeth in the wrong way, they end up with like 10 cavities when they go to the dentist. I feel like I fall somewhere kind of in the middle of that spectrum. Every once in a while, the dentist will say that I have a cavity or something, or they'll need to fill it. But I think more often than not, I tend not to have cavities, so I guess that's good. It's a weird thing, though. It's a field that is very, I feel like it's very mysterious to the average consumer or dental patient. I suppose medicine is as well, but I don't know. People seem to have stronger opinions on medicine than they do on dentistry. Like with medicine, I feel like every other person has their own opinion on antibiotics or vaccines or things regarding health and wellness, which I guess are kind of related as well to medicine. But I think it's strangely probably more common for people to talk about their opinions on antibiotics than it is for people to talk about like their favorite toothpaste or something, or like their favorite style of floss. I don't know. Maybe that's just the people I hang out with. The other thing I have here today is this Rubik's Cube, which, if I'm being honest here, I did not solve. I didn't solve this at all. This was actually solved by my niece a few months ago, and it's just been sitting on my shelf ever since. This is one of those things I keep meaning to do, is to figure out how to actually solve a Rubik's Cube. I know that it's not particularly challenging, that it's a skill that one can learn. I just haven't really gotten around to it. But it's interesting to me nonetheless, especially the idea that there are multiple ways of solving it, or I suppose methods. I have a friend, actually, who is a speed cuber. He solves Rubik's Cubes competitively, which I think is pretty cool. It's definitely a cool party trick. But I think it's also kind of an interesting bit of research as far as the math is concerned. It's another thing I don't know much about, but it's really fascinating. And just kind of fun. It's what a cool application to something kind of theoretical. There's this block that's made up of these other little blocks that are interlocking and can kind of move in some directions but not others. I like it. It's fun. So it's definitely getting to the point with the chocolate chips that my teeth don't hurt yet, but I'm starting to get that sort of funny feeling in my throat when I eat too much sugar. So I think we're sort of approaching the end point here. I hope you enjoyed this video. This kind of random rambling video. If you like mouth sounds, eating sounds, drinking sounds, or just kind of these random conversation, random stream of consciousness kinds of things, let me know in the comments. And I'd be happy to continue doing them. I usually have a handful of random thoughts each day, actually, that I'd be happy to share if I know somebody's interested. I also see a lot of funny things. I feel like I go through phases in my life where I just encounter kind of entertaining things. I was going to say peculiar, but I think a lot of that just has to do with perspective. I guess peculiar for me, or unusual for me. You know, I'll just be driving or walking or something, and I'll see something just like, what is going on? I suppose I could share some of those things if you like. I'm also hoping to do another reading video sometime soon. Haven't yet decided what to read. Generally, I'm kind of interested, if I'm doing a reading video, in doing something that is past the point of having an enforceable copyright, just because the copyright thing on YouTube seems a little bit like a moving target. But I'm open to anything if, I guess I'm open to anything. Well, thank you for joining me. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave a like, consider subscribing, drop me a comment. I really would like to know what kind of things you'd like to see and hear in the future, so please let me know. I don't get many comments, so I definitely read all of them, and to be honest, even if I did get a ton of comments, I would still read all of them. I hope you have a great day, afternoon, evening, night, and I'll see you next time.